Um, Hi guys, don't know if there'll ever be anybody actually watching this, but I've decided to start this vlog um, because over the last couple of weeks I've been toying with the idea of setting a goal to do an Ironman when I turn 50. And I wanted to do that because I just needed some purpose, particularly around my physical health. I've always done better when I've got a goal, and if I don't, I just tend to drift along, eat badly, don't exercise. I struggle just to exercise for the sake of it, just for my own well-being, and that's not a good thing, but it's just what it is. So my start point's not great. I weighed myself this morning because I decided that this was ground zero, the actual start date. So I'm 46 years old, sort of probably 3/4 of the way through that year. And when I hopped on the scales this morning, I was 136.1 kilos. Now, according to my calculations, it's about 218 weeks until the race that I would like to do, which is the Bussleton Ironman in Western Australia. So that's plenty of time. The biggest impediment is my current state of health. I think to be able to have a decent crack at an Ironman, I probably need to do it at around 80 kilos. I'm 183 centimetres tall. So, I need to drop, 56 kilos. But, if you break that down, if I lose 0.5% of my body weight, which is, less than a kilo a week, I'll be at a decent weight, and still have a couple of years of solid training. Because I know from previous experience, if I do the training, running in particular, with too much weight on, I just break down my hips and my feet in particular. So while it may seem crazy to look at something that extreme, given my current state of health, I'm not that crazy. This isn't my first dance at this. So just setting a goal of doing a triathlon or running a 5K doesn't float my boat. In my 20s, I'd blown out to 148 kilos in weight, and I set a goal of running a marathon, which I did. I raced the marathon at probably 93 kilos, I think I was, from memory. But then proceeded to put all of that weight back on, and ended up, I think, somewhere between 145 and 150 kilos again before I got bitten by the triathlon bug. This was probably in around 2002, 2003. And started doing triathlon and was training for the Yeppoon Half Ironman when my son was born 10 weeks premature, and we were up in the Whitsundays at the time. And that all came to a grinding halt. Just things got very hard. I canned Yeppoon pretty much straight away. I was only 8 weeks out from the race, thinking, things will work out perfectly. I'll race. I'll qualify for Port Macquarie, and then Angus will be born. But fates conspired. Angus was 10 weeks prem. Spent best part of 11 or 12 weeks in Townsville Hospital, and when we got Angus home from hospital, we decided pretty smartly to move back to Melbourne. And apart from a couple of pretty brief rides. My bike never saw the light of day, and it actually went to the tip because it was all rusted out and it was a bit long in the tooth. So here I am, starting today. I don't have a bike. I don't think I can probably run for maybe another year or so because I need to drop a good 30-35 kilos. So you got to start somewhere. So I weighed in today, as I said, 136.1. Need to lose, 700-800 grams a week. I'll obviously put a bit back on over Christmas and festive dates. So it's not linear, but hopped in the pool. First swim for 4 or 5 years, I reckon. And didn't feel great, surprisingly enough. I had a brief flirtation with CrossFit for maybe 2 years and left myself pretty banged up. I got some adductor problems, but I had a lot of elbow tendonitis and shoulder problems. So I've got to be pretty careful of my shoulder. Where was I? Yeah, so I'm not crazy. I know what it takes. I've done the type of training before. When Angus was born, that's my son. He's now turned 14. I was in pretty good nick, and for my standards, I was flying. I'd weighed 78 kilos, so I know with my frame, it's not beyond the possibilities to get down to that sort of weight because I've been there before. So I plan to share on here, where I'm at. It's a bit of a public commitment by me to keep me honest over the journey. Anyone's listening, feel free to comment, and if I don't put something up here at least once a week, I'd love for you to comment and say, hey, you're sticking to it, what's going on, you've made a commitment. That'll really help me out. I'd love for you to subscribe, because the more people that hold me accountable to this, other than myself, the greater the likelihood that I'll get myself fit. And ultimately, I just want to get myself fit and strong and healthy, because if I keep going in my current state, by the time I get old, I'll get old really fast. My body will break down. And I do have some concerns. Training for something like an Ironman is going to break things down a bit faster. But hey, I'll fall apart real fast at 130, 140 kilos. If I got a bit of wear and tear and I'm weighing 80 kilos, I just think that'll be better for me, and I'll be smart about impact and all that sort of stuff. But so I'll try to chuck something up here, definitely on a Sunday, because that's really when I want to weigh in and see how I've gone for the week. Give you an idea of how gradually I'm starting to build this up. As I get some new toys, because at some point I'll buy a new bike. I want to buy a indoor trainer, wetsuits, heart rate monitors, all that sort of stuff. Actually, somewhere in my piles of stuff that I've got here, I do have my Garmin heart rate monitor, which is probably only 6 or 7 years old. I'll have to charge it up and see if it still works. So I hope you enjoyed this first little chat, and I look forward to touching base with you soon. Cheers.